Hey friends, it's Connie and it's June 7th, 2023. I'm in Julia Davis Park and Rose Garden right next to a lovely flowing river, really heavy flow. That must be from the meltdown from the Bitterroot or the Blue Mountains. I'm out here traveling around looking for another place to locate to because I'm just always searching for that. I may end up being on the road forever at this point, but I'm going to try to attempt the impossible. I found an amazing author, a poet, James MCCRAE, and I wrote to him yesterday, told him I would be doing a few of his poems on my channel, which is the one you're on, Home Free in My SUV. There's some motorcycles out there. Boise is a real mix of people, of conservatives, liberals, and all other people. It's a real mix, so I may have to journey north to Sandpoint and take a look at Sandpoint again, and there's a lot of other places too, of course. There's the whole world, so until I get my Sprinter or whatever RV I'm going to fixate on, I'm going to read this poem to you by an amazing author, and the name of his book, which I found in a bookstore in Sumner, is How to Laugh in Ironic Amusement During Your Existential Crisis. And that's what we're going through. We're all in existential crisis, aren't we? And this has got probably 10 poems that are so right on the mark, right on the money. And this one, first poem, I'm going to be walking and talking and reading as a poet would read. Very articulate and attempting the impossible, which is holding the book and the camera at the same time. So, we are the universe learning to love itself. We are the universe learning to love itself, like a shelter animal learning to trust again. If you're reading this in the future, I can't imagine how we, in our now, must look to you in yours. Don't blame me. Everyone else was doing it, so I did too. We looked outward at a society built atop sacred soil and searched for resources to suck and bleed dry. We measured our worth by the power we yielded over others at the expense of any semblance of control over ourselves. We worshipped at the cold feet of golden corporate cows while an anointed infinite Messiah floated down the river unnoticed. We watched as every pure and honest human creation was stolen and used against us by the contagious alien forces of ego and greed. Our sacred ceremonies were cigarette circles outside bars, 4 whiskeys deep. Our love was the secrets we kept hidden while sharing our fears with anyone who would listen. We exchanged our indigenous wisdom for junk food and paper money printed in bulk by the Federal Reserve and loaned at interest to the U.S. government, who sucked blood from its own children to pay the debt. The words of our prophets were mistaken for dogma, and the soft radiance of the female spirit was mistaken for something to conquer and own. Our hunger was the bottomless hole we tried to fill with everything we didn't need. Our prayers were passive, aggressive comments tossed carelessly into the internet cosmos. Our meditation was impatiently refreshing social media apps, waiting for anyone, to reach through the screen and touch us. We debated the moral superiority of right and left hand puppets, moved by the same masked madman while Moloch sat atop his plastic pyramid and laughed in black magic ritual between ceremonial sips of semen and blood. Our sex was a rushed and impersonal reenactment of bad porn because we didn't trust each other enough to open our hearts. We spoke in argumentative absolutes because we had forgotten the subtle languages of poetry and myth. Our best liars were given gold watches and government positions, while our truth-tellers mysteriously hung themselves in Paris hotels. We ate genetically modified cheeseburgers in front of flat-screen TVs while Fox News barked propaganda between commercials. Energy leaked from our souls like a broken faucet, feeding vampires and parasites instead of our higher purpose. Our salvation was a paycheck and 6 hours of dreamless sleep. But on our best days, we were also golden, like a brilliant child who didn't yet realize how beautiful and powerful she could be. And you could almost see our light shining through our shadows. That's the first poem, and I'll share more, but this is a wonderful author, and he is of the times. Absolutely, James MCCRAE.